Good Sunday afternoon, everybody. Hope y'all are having a God bless Sunday afternoon because I sure am. I am so enjoying this nice, beautiful fall weather that God has sent us. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. And I hope you are too as well. I'm showing these veggies because as I looked out at the weather today, it's nice and cool. The leaves have turned and some of them are still turning. It is absolutely beautiful. And as I began to prepare my meal for today, I began to just thank God for the farmers and for the land that He provided for the farmers to farm, the seeds, the water, the sunshine, the rain that grows all these beautiful veggies. And what really caught my eye was these beautiful yellow squash. Now, isn't that just, let me see if I can get that color. Okay, I love yellow. I don't wear this color that much, but I just love it. It's a pop color. Those are the most beautiful yellow squash I've seen in a long, long, long time. So obviously I'm going to do squash and onions today. So those beautiful fresh squash and onions, and right next to it I got a bowl of potatoes. Guess what I'm doing, y'all? Real fresh cream potatoes. I'm all into it today, y'all. So I'm doing fresh cream potatoes, some fried squash and onions. That's more onions. I love lots of onions in it. Hold on, Kareem, hold on just. Okay, now I'm back. I had to give Kareem a few pointers on a couple of things. Anywho, as I was saying, these yellow squashes caught my eye, and I just began to thank God and praise Him. As I was thinking about, I listened to Genesis 1 through 50 one day last week, and just all the things that God was doing as He was creating the earth. Well, He created everything when He on those in those 6 days, and I just began to think when He commanded the earth to yield vegetation and water and the fish of the sea, and He put the animals. I mean, all of this. So this is representative of the commandment to allow vegetation into the earth. And here we are today in 2020. Look at these beautiful squash. I didn't farm them, I didn't plant them, I didn't pick them, but I sure am getting ready to cook them and eat them. So you all just think about it sometimes. I like to give thanks, and the Word of God admonishes us to give thanks for all things. So I thank God for these nice fresh veggies. These are fresh cut green beans. They were frozen, but they're freshly, they're not been cooked yet. So we're going to have one of our favorites, green beans. Was wanting to do lima beans. Lima beans, for some odd reason, all bought out. For some bought all. For some oddball reason, they're very scarce in this area. I could not find lima beans, so I had to go ahead and get the green beans. Didn't want to do collards or cabbage again. You know, it's kind of hard sometimes finding green vegetables. Maybe I just need to broaden my horizon. I don't know. But anyway, I've got some nice fresh Portobello Mushrooms. These are from Sam's Club. I just love them. And that's going to be, I'm going to show y'all how I'm going to use these today. I'm going to use them in my gravy for that meat that I'm cooking today, because y'all, I'm doing some nice cube steak today, and in the gravy is going to be some nice mushrooms. So that's going to be the menu for today. We're going to do the cube steak and mushroom gravy, uh, fresh cream potatoes, fried squash and onions, and of course our green beans. And I am going to be doing some mayonnaise biscuits. Let's get over here while my fixings are for my mayonnaise biscuits. Okay, right here. Mayonnaise biscuits are so good and so simple to prepare. Now y'all know I had to switch it up a little bit. I put 1 cup of flour, a half a cup of biscuit, and then a half a cup of Jiffy corn bread mix, just because I want to know what it's going to taste like. But to make mayonnaise biscuits, all you need is 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of milk, and 1 cup of mayo. And I'm going to throw a little bit of Smart Start in there, and that's going to be our bread for today. So give me a minute. I'm going to go back on the other side of the room, get those potatoes and squash boiling so we can get this show on the road, y'all. Okay, y'all, I've got my potatoes on that back boiler back there. They're going to have to boil about 30-35 minutes. Get nice and soft. And I'm going to go ahead and get my squash In another pan, I got a pot of water boiling. So all you do with these, now this is how I do mine. I'm sure there's other ways to do it, but this is Peggy style. I just wash them real good. Remember I told you squash, please scrub them, wash them over and over and over is what I do. Because I don't know why, but squash get gritty. I just don't even ask me why. Just wash them real good. And go ahead and slice them up just like this. Or you can, I mean, you can cut them up any way. You can boil them whole. You can mash them. This is the way my mama I always saw her do her squash. And I just wonder, why you have to cook them first? Why you have to cook squash first? But you have to cook them. I mean, well, I cook mine like mama did. Which mama was doing this. Tell y'all the truth, I do. Whew, just think sometimes, think about your mom. You know, at my age, my mom's been gone for quite some time, but I always think, boy, how wonderful. At my age, even when I was 60, even in my 60s, I would love to have had my mom still around. She would have been in her 80s. That would have been so wonderful. I'm going to knock the edge off of this squash water with about a teaspoon of salt. Squash is one of those things that will fool you when you're seasoning them. You will keep putting salt and putting salt and putting salt, and sometimes get them too salty. So I knock the edge off before I put them into that water by putting a little salt in the water. And I'll boil these about 20 minutes and they'll be ready. You have to drain them really, really good. Just keep draining them and push down on them, put them in a colander once they get done, and just drain them until you squeeze as much water out as you can, because remember that you want these squash to be fried. You don't want them steamed, you don't want them boiled for the end product. Almost too much in there, but I think I'm going to just put my lid on there and get them steamed up real good. So the squash and potatoes are cooking. And we're just going to keep this meal moving right along. I'm going to go ahead and get my meat from over here and put it on the other side. I got the oil in the pan for it. And let me see. I think that when I think I'm going to do my string beans in this little pot here. So what I can do, since I'm not cooking my meat right now, get some of this other stuff out the way. And my pretty Mary Liz pan, I'm going to be using it today, my cornucopia pot. Y'all see this? This is the only time, I'm telling y'all, when I'm in this kitchen and I'm trying to play stuff, especially when I'm cooking multiple items. I'm thinking, Lord, I need a bigger kitchen. But then I take it right back and say, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I like this small kitchen. I really do. I really like my small kitchen, y'all. I really, really do. And yeah, my string off my clean shirt dipped right in that water, but that's okay. That's okay. It's not going to kill nothing or nobody. So, what I'm going to do, though, here, I'm going to transfer this pot to the back burner. And I'm going to go ahead and get my beans started. Okay? Slide this right on back there. Okay. How's that for moving things around? Move this. I'm going to put that pan there so that I can go ahead and start with my green beans. Now, as you know, with the green beans, we always put just a little bit of boiling bacon in it, but this time, and usually with me, I always use turkey bacon. I always usually got turkey bacon on here. And in the bottom of the pot, I usually just put, let's see, let's get my camera where you can see. Let's get my little cornucopia pot out the way. There we go. Isn't that a better shot? The camera person just came alive. And you just, I tell you what, when you're doing videos like this, especially the way I do, because honey, I'm so hands-on, do it live. I'm a live person, you know. I don't like to do all that. Go back and make it perfect. In other words, I don't do that kind of cooking. And sometimes it's not good. Sometimes it's wonderful. But to me, it teaches you the reality of cooking. As y'all know, I'm very passionate about being in this kitchen now. And I believe in showing y'all just what and what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. I believe in the real. Remember, if you went to, well, in high school, I don't remember too much in high school. I remember one, from college days, the who, what, when, where, and how. Now, I'm sure that applied. But, honey, when you got to college and wrote a paper, if you want to get a good grade, shoot, you best have that who, what, when, where, how, and why in the forefront, right up front, without a doubt. Okay? So, I'm going to allow that, I got a little oil in this little, you have a little grease can? That's my little grease can. Put a little bit, I don't want that much. Okay, that's my little grease can, y'all. Yeah, everybody has a grease can. Mine happened to be in this little thing there. Okay, that's my grease can. So, what I'm going to go ahead and do, I've got a couple strips of turkey bacon that I've cut in little pieces. And this is just to spruce up flavor is all. I'm going to go ahead and throw that turkey bacon right in there. You know what, y'all, I believe y'all let me sit here and get the wrong pot, but we're going to figure it out. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put a medium onion is going to go in there as well. I'm cutting, y'all can't see me, but I'm cutting the rest of this onion up. Again, I don't have a lot of space on this countertop, so right there. And like I told y'all, for those of you that have seen me do this before, this countertop is granite, so I put everything on it. I keep it sanitized, because I thought, now why would I go and buy a cutting block when I paid all that money for these countertops? Not going to happen. Okay? So, got that done. And now let me get a... Okay. Y'all hang on one sec. And I'm back. Okay, y'all. So what I'm doing here in this pan is just saute these onions and that turkey bacon. So now I think why I say I'm going to make a mistake, I might not have this pot big enough, but we're going to test it and see. Okay, that's one bag of beans. I think I'm going to have to switch and get my bigger pan. Get them stirred all up in there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to get the bigger pot, y'all. That pot just ain't going to cut it, so hold on. Okay, y'all, I'm back. I got a bigger pan for these beans. I'm going to go ahead and start putting into the bigger pot. This pan, but it just was not quite enough room in there. For almost 4 pounds of beans. So, and then I've already added, y'all know I put complete seasoning in there. And all together it's going to be 1 tablespoon of complete seasoning. I'm adding some little bit of smart salt, which is a butter or margarine, however you want to call it. Now I'm going to go ahead and put another bag of beans. See there? That just is not going to be big enough. For all those beans. And I'm adding a little bit of onion powder. A couple teaspoons of onion powder in the entire thing. And I've already put 1 teaspoon of complete seasoning. There's another teaspoon. And I'm just sort of putting it in between. You know, there's another way to do these. Put them on, put everything in, and just let them cook. But since I had to switch pots, I'm doing it this way today. These are these are green beans my way. Pretty much the same way that, remember we did the Tara's green bean? Okay, I'm going to put half of my brown sugar in right there at that point, which is a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Part of it there. And I'm going to put that's the 3rd pound of green beans. That's a lot of green beans, y'all. Okay. So So I think that's going to be enough. I had taken out another 10-ounce bag, but I think this is going to be a plenty. I'll just put the rest of my little bit of complete in there. Rest of my little onion powder in there. And the rest of my brown sugar in there. Okay. These green beans are just so good. I mean, you just eat a ton of them when you get started eating. And you know, it's health-wise, it's not all that bad. I guess the worst thing I got in here, there's a little stem. I don't want that stem in there when I get ready to eat. Maybe brown sugar, I don't know, it's a fourth of a cup in this whole pot. But these green beans, you can eat them 3 or 4 days. So, plenty of green beans, y'all. And this is just one good, quick way of preparing fresh, frozen green beans. Okay? And what I'm going to do is just let them sit there, medium-high heat, and let them just cook until they get completely done. And then I'll put a lid on them and just walk away. It's only going to take about 25-30 minutes. The pot's just still heating up. That's why I can do that, y'all. Oh, wow. Okay, so the green beans are doing what they need to do. The potato, I turned them down. Okay, I'm turning that heat back up on those potatoes. Everything is cooking along nicely. Like I said, it'll take about 30 minutes on the potatoes and 30 on, and 25-30 minutes on the squash, because now you got to fry the squash. So it's going to go through another cooking process. So listen, guys, I'm going to go ahead now and get my meat prepped to start cooking. And for the most part, this dinner is just about on because I've got everything set up and prepped. One thing about cooking multiple items, it's good to go ahead and prep things and get them little stations set up. Just little do-aheads, as I call it. And, you can multitask and keep things moving right along. So I'm going to be right back in a second. Whatever you're cooking, if you hadn't already cooked for today, go ahead and grab yours out and cook right along with me. So I'll be right back. Okay, y'all, perfect shot. This is my cube steak. I've seasoned it with black pepper, onion powder, and complete seasoning. That's all. So what I did was just pour the flour right on top of the meat. This doesn't have to be floured a lot, but I always flour it. Just make sure it gets coated pretty good. Because what it'll also do, once it gets done, will help you make the gravy. Because you have to have that good old gravy to go along with that cube steak. So, cool that grease down too. Got that grease pretty hot there. I'm going to let it sit off for a minute. Honey, I got everything over here smoking. So, let's set this up here. Well, that's not going to cool it off too much if I got though. Okay, we're going to just put those off the fire for a second. And I'm going to go ahead and get this meat floured up real good. So just like I say, you can just take your pan like this if you got one of these little kind of pans. Pour the flour right on top of that meat and I'm not using a gloved hand. You know what? I don't have nails. I sanitize my hands 500 times a day. Look at these hands. They stay clean. So do my bracelets. Everything's clean. So if anybody looking for the first time, I've had to do a little session on that before. These are just little plastic beads with a little fishing line in it. So no big deal. So just about got this cube steak. I think I got 14 pieces of cube steak. And I usually like my pieces about like so. I figure that's big enough. A couple, 3 pieces on anybody's plate is really enough. And today I'm focusing on my veggies anyway. My beans are about done. The squash are about ready for me to get in my frying pan. And so is so are my potatoes. So what we're going to do here, we're going to be doing 2 things. We're going to get this, let me go ahead and get this cube steak on the burner. Get it going. And then on the far side, I've got another pan going because I'm going to saute my mushrooms and onions to put in my gravy. Oh, perfect, yeah. Cool down just right. I could probably get 6 pieces in here at a time. Let me see. Okay, let's get them moved over. And you don't have to cook these for about 3 minutes on each side. And what you want to do is get them cooked to the point so whenever you get them in the pan, you'll have that flour cooked onto that meat. Now that's that oil there. Some of that is still the coconut oil. Some of that same oil that I use when I fry my chicken. Okay, let me get one more here. Medium high heat is where you want this cooking. Like I say, 2 or 3 minutes on each side. You don't have to spend a whole lot of time cooking these pieces of meat because you're going to put them back in the gravy next. So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get my mushrooms going. Let's see. Turn that heat up a little bit to turn that out of the way. I need to get those mushrooms going because I need this colander for my start draining my squash and my potatoes. Ooh, I hope I didn't get too far away because I think part of the problem sometimes when y'all can't hear me, if I walk away from the camera, too far away from the camera. Okay, I don't know why mine does not pick up sound great like some cameras do. Mine just does not. So, we got that cube steak in the pan over there. It is cooking nicely. Okay. Next, I'm going to go ahead and get my mushrooms going. And I think I'm just going to put them all in the pan all at one time. There we go. We're going to saute those mushrooms up and get them ready for the cube steak gravy. And I'm going to saute some onions right along with them. Get it back over here. Got my onions all sliced. I think what I'm going to do, it's all going to go in one pot. I'm going to put the onions on one side. Okay. Now, I won't be putting all of those mushrooms and onions in there, but I'm going to go ahead and cook them all. These freeze nicely. So what I'm going to do is get them sauteed. And I'm going to use what I need to use for my gravy. All I'm doing with these mushrooms and onions here, so you can see it. You see both of them go at the same time. I'm just going to saute them up. And all I put on here is a little bit of onion powder so far. And this is that my Indian seasoning. Ooh, this stuff is good. This is some good stuff here, honey. It goes on everything. Get them seasoned up real good. And, of course, I got to put black pepper. I'm holding this camera right now. So everything is cooking along nicely. So we're sauteing the mushrooms. This is going to take about 15 minutes to get the onions and mushrooms sauteed. The meat's going to take about 10-12 minutes to get all of it done. And then I'll start making the gravy. And we're going to combine this cube steak, those mushrooms, and my gravy. When I make the gravy, I'll show you how. So y'all hold on just a minute, and we're going to go on and get some other things done. When you come back, all this will be pretty much done. Okay, y'all, I got my mushrooms and my onions all ready. So when the meat is done, I'm going to get my gravy together. So when y'all see this again, it's going to be in the gravy. And by the way, maybe a fourth of this, I'm going to put it in a bag, and it'll be for another time because I don't need that much in the gravy. I just went ahead and just did the whole package of mushrooms since I had them. So, we just moving right along. I'll be bringing those squash up next, so hang tight. Okay, y'all, it's time to get these squash going. I'm chopping the squash and onions together. Plenty of onions. A teaspoonful of onion powder, teaspoonful of black pepper, a tablespoon of complete seasoning, and that's about all you're going to need as far as for the salt content. I'm not putting any more salt in here. And we're going to use a stick of butter. Got to get that pan real good and hot. Not too hot now because we're going to be cooking with butter. And we're going to use some Smart Side. It's not going to be all butter. I have to watch it with butter. You know, butter will burn right now, right quick on you. So, what I'm going to have to do, so we won't have a complete kabobble over here with this squash, I'm going to have to put some of my drippings in the pan first. I need to keep this show moving to get this, to cool it down a little bit. Because if I put that butter in there by itself, it's going to brown up right quick. So while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and continue and make sure you separate your onions. I cut up 2 large onions. This is 3 pounds of squash, y'all. Remember now, I just washed them extra good. Cut them up in little ringlets, boiled them for about 25-30 minutes, drained them and mashed all the water that I could out of them because we don't want this squash to steam. We want them to fry. We want good old-fashioned fried squash. Okay, I can go ahead and put my butter up there in the pan now. And I'm just going to leave it off the burner for right now. Go ahead and finish doing this. So I cut a big old piece of onion. I like fairly big pieces, but not that big. You just cut them up about like that. Because when they fry down, they're going to be nice and brown. It's going to take 30 minutes to fry these, even though they're already cooked. Okay? That butter's still trying to brown on them. But that's okay. We'll let it brown a little bit, but I need it hot, you see. That's why I had to go ahead and put something else to mix with it so it won't brown so much. Let me go ahead and put, because I want a stick and a half of butter. I want all the butter I can get. And when you cook dishes like this, once in a while, I don't do this stuff that often because it has, so you have to put some, for it to be authentically old world food and to taste like I want it to taste, you gotta cook with the butter. That's why I say this food, I tell people all the time, honey, I cook lots of stuff that I don't eat. Now I'm gonna eat some of the squash today. And I'm gonna eat some of all of the food, but I'm not gonna eat a lot of it. The veggies, okay. The veggies is what I'm focusing on today because I love, y'all know me and fresh vegetables. I love fresh vegetables. And those squash, like I say, they do that color. They even still pretty even after I chop them all up. Okay, I'm getting my seeds taken out of here. Just about ready. Yeah, in a few minutes I'm going to get over there and start making that gravy. Well, I can't show it to you right now. But I'm going to leave it right there. Let's see. Yeah, be careful when you salting your squash, because I'm telling you, it'll seem like it's not salty because squash is such, it absorbs so much. Because remember now, squash is a water food. That's why you have to squeeze all that water out of it that you can. So now I'm going to go ahead and try to, yeah, okay. Start putting squash in. Have it heat on high now. Keep the heat on high. I moved the camera to clean up some more, y'all. Sorry about that. Anyway, there they are. They're in the pan. And they're going to do that just for about 35-40 minutes. Because it's going to take a little bit of time to get this squash fried down like you want it. If you see any big pieces of onions in there, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can cut them if you want to. If not, if you want to cut them, just take your knife and cut them in half like so. But I don't want them too big because I want them to cook evenly. But I got carried away with some of these pieces. This is what I mean, when folks are talking about, doing videos and editing. This kind of stuff here, I'm going to show you what to do to correct as you're cooking. Okay, now I got that heat all the way up on high. I'm going to leave my spoon right there because I'm going to have to stir it constantly so it doesn't burn. But I want it to brown. You want squash. When you're frying squash, you want those squash fried, and you want a little brown crisp on the bottom of it when you get that spoonful out of there. So hold on a minute. I'm going to get my pan ready. Well, it's just about ready now. On the other side of the stove, I'm about ready to get my gravy started. So I got my mushrooms and my onions going. So all I got to do now is get me some, well, I've shown y'all how to make gravy a few times. So I'm just going to show you again. And I'm going to be using about a half a cup of, about a half a cup of flour. And most of the flour that I'm using is going to be the same flour that I battered that meat with. Okay, because I got about that much left in there. Okay, then the last thing I'll have to do is make my bread. Let's see. And get my creamed potatoes going. I'll get them drained. My potatoes are draining. Yeah, that squash is on this way, honey. That squash is going somewhere, y'all. Okay. So, my oil is about hot enough. And I got a lot of goodie in the bottom of that pan. I think I'm just going to go ahead and switch out burners here. So y'all can see. You see all that in the bottom of that pan? I'm going to leave it right in there. That's from where I fried that cube steak. I want my gravy just about that brown, if not browner. Okay? If you see any little really dark pieces in there that you don't want, just take them out. I see about 2 little pieces of real dark. Take that out. And like I say, I'm going to be using, let's see how much flour I got going. Whoops, sorry about that, y'all. Yeah. Yep. Let's go ahead and get that going. I might not need to put any more in there for sure. I can turn that heat down a little bit under there. I don't want my stuff to burn. Now, you have to watch out with heat. Because, honey, I'm telling you, sometimes you get going, especially when you got 3 or 4 different things going on at the same time. Just be mindful. Like I said, you can't look at nothing else. You can't answer the phone. You can't talk on the phone. You can't entertain nobody while you're cooking like this. Because this kind of food requires a lot of attention, because I'm doing 3 or 4 different things at one time, y'all. I think I am going to put just a tad bit more flour just to make sure that I'm going to have enough thickness in there. And I don't want to have to thicken anything. Yeah, I'm going to add me another tablespoon of flour. So a little over a half a cup of flour for this amount. Now, if you're going to cook, if you're not going to cook this much, see, I'm cooking enough food here for 10 people, actually. Well, 8 because well, 10 could really eat if they would just, eat modest amounts. They could. They really could. Really, 7 could. If everybody ate just a piece of meat, but I already know better than that, so we ain't worried about it. That's why I always cook a ton. Okay, the squash. You can't see them, but you can hear them. They're cooking nicely. We're focusing on this gravy right now. Okay. So, what I've done with those mushrooms and onions, I put them in a pan together, and I rinsed that pan out that they were in, and it's just a little mushroom water in there. You have to watch this too to make sure when you need to add a little bit more oil, because you might have to add a little bit more oil, butter or something to the bottom of that pan when all the juices start to cook out, because I don't want any juice in here, because I don't want steamed squash. I want fried squash, y'all. Okay. So that roux is cooking along nicely. I'm just going to let it continue to cook. for another 5 or 6 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and get started on my cream potatoes because we got to get this show on the road. Okay, I'll be right back, y'all. Okay, y'all. It's time to put the mushrooms and onions in that gravy mixture. Get fried all up in there, y'all, and then you hit it with some water. I'm going to pour about 3 cups of water in here. That was my mushrooms and my onions that went into that roux. Okay. And of course, I'm going to have to season it up a little bit more. That's going to be some good stuff there. Y'all know that. Y'all already know that, though. Y'all knew that before I said it, though, didn't you? Okay, so what I'm doing now, on the other side of the room, because I got to keep it moving, I got those cream potatoes going because I just took them out of the water. So you know you have to keep them warm while they're hot. So it'll melt the butter and everything. And my squash are cooking nicely. Yeah, keeping that heat up. I didn't have to add any more oil, but I pulled that heat down a little bit so they wouldn't brown, so they wouldn't burn. Because they never get too brown. That's my gravy. Get my potatoes over here, y'all. Okay, and I'll bring them up on board next. We'll just gotta clean that pan up. Okay, a little black pepper. Y'all know I'm multitasking over here. I'm multitasking over here. Okay, we need that metal. Can y'all believe I do not have a potato masher? Because you know what? It's been so many years since I did mashed potatoes. Real cream potatoes. It just never dawned on me to buy one. Because by the time I left my mom's house cooking, you know, and beyond, I was still using the fork like my mom did. My mom never had that potato masher thing. She just never had one. Why? I don't know. And I just did it like I saw her do it with a fork. Putting about a teaspoon of my complete seasoning in there. This is about a half a teaspoon of my Indian seasoning. I don't want it to get too salty, but it has to have enough taste to it. We'll use the same fork and get those potatoes going here just a second. You know what I can do with these potatoes while we're waiting? I'm going to put them back on that burner and turn that heat on so they'll stay hot. Because that butter has got to melt as you're mashing. Okay. That gravy is almost where I need it to be. Almost there. Like the kids say, over there, yeah, you say, almost, we're almost there, y'all. Almost there. So another little bit of that because I'm going to have to add a little bit more water. Because remember, now I still got to put in my meat. And remember, I battered that meat, so that meat's going to thicken that gravy up even more. So here we go with the meat. I'm going to go ahead and put all that cube steak in there. We're going to get it down in the gravy, honey. That's some pretty dark brown gravy. Get them squash are moving right along. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn my oven on now on 375 because I got to get my bread going. So by the time everything gets ready, the meat and everything will be ready as well. Okay. I didn't want to overwhelm because that was like 2 pounds of mushrooms. I didn't put the whole 2 pounds there. That meat has got to cook for another 20, 30 minutes. So all the seasoning cooks through it. And it helps to tenderize also. So we're going to turn that on medium-low heat. And we're going to give it a cover. I got everything in the world splattered on top of here. Let's see. Let me get that wiped down a little bit, y'all. And there we go. That cube steak is under that cover there, y'all. You know what? I think I'm going to change the burners now. With this so I can get these potatoes going. Like so. Because this is a pretty good sized pot. Okay. Y'all can hear those potatoes cooking. Well, they're not really cooking, they're staying hot. I need them hot. So I'm going to chunk them with my spatula here. It's a metal spatula. And I know that y'all that can't stand to hear that sound, sorry about that. A cook's got to do what a cook's got to do. So I'm using this other hand over here, y'all. Y'all hear those sparks? I'm going to show them to you in a minute. So when they get a certain level of brownness, I'll show them to you. So you can see what they need to look like. So now, I've got a good sturdy, heavy wire whisk. And that's what I'm going to use with my potatoes. And I've just got that heat on them. Haven't put my milk in there yet. Move that for right now. You know, around here we like good old garlic mash potatoes. So we're going to put our teaspoon of complete in there. Going to put a little bit of a teaspoon of onion powder. And we're going to do us a teaspoon of garlic powder. Okay. Garlic powder. Okay, put these squash on the day or something else. Whew, it smells good over there, y'all. Just keep these potatoes going here. I got this burner all the way down on low. Just to keep them hot. These squash are cooking. I have to lower the heat on the squash. They're browning up nicely, y'all. Everything is going well. I do hope and pray that y'all moving right along with me now. Y'all see what kind of pace I've had to pick up here. And I haven't even put the milk in these potatoes yet. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead right now and pour me about 1/4 of a cup right now of that cream in there in those potatoes. It's nice and creamy because after all they are cream potatoes. This is how simple, you know, it's kind of work intensive, but it's real simple to do. It does not take a lot. Let me get these springs on because they're about to get on my nerve. It does not take a lot to make fresh potatoes, except for the fact that I'm telling y'all, to me, those boxed potatoes taste just as well as these ones that I spent the time. And the reason I went on and made fresh ones, y'all, I had all these potatoes, and y'all know me, I don't like to throw away stuff. So I went ahead, I said, well, and I had given away potatoes, and I had put potatoes in the refrigerator. I thought, well, let me just, since I'm making an old-fashioned cube steak today with a little twist, let me go ahead and whip up some cream potatoes here. And you know, because unless you cheat and put them on the blender and all that kind of stuff, these potatoes will have a few little lumps in them, and that's the authenticity of old-fashioned cream potatoes, y'all. Seriously. Be nice and creamy, and yummy. Yum, yum, yummy. So I'm going to keep, you know, I'm going to beat them and mash them as much as I can to make sure that I get as many of the lumps out of them. But you know, that's just par for the course for home style cream potatoes. Okay, for the most part, these cream potatoes or whipped potatoes, mashed potatoes, however you want to call them. I mean, when we grew up, we call them mashed potatoes. And you know how the name of things change over time, over the years. Yep. Okay, so I think with the exception of maybe just a couple more tweaks in there. Oh, the black pepper, you gotta put black pepper in. Well, we put black pepper in about a good half a teaspoon of black pepper goes in there. And gonna get that, mix that around in there. And just so everybody will believe there's butter in them, you know I'm gonna put a big old chunk of butter right in the middle. Okay. So these cream taters are done. Okay, so that's done. Well, then we'll get that out because you know we ain't thought about even trying to throw nothing away. That was probably a piece of whole potato. Yeah, that's some little lumps. How about that? Well, the lumps got caught right in there. Good, that's wonderful. Okay. And we're just going to go right on. Yeah, that's exactly what that was. A few lumps caught in there. Because everything else is coming out. Okay, there we go. We're done with the potatoes for right now. I need to move on, do the last thing on the menu, and get the bread in the oven. Yep. Clean that edge off. And we'll be right back. Let's see. Okay, y'all, there's the squash just fried all the way down. I'm just going to let it continue to fry just a little more crisp on it. Squash is ready, y'all. Those cream potatoes are ready. That cube steak back there, look at it. It's ready, y'all. It's ready. And, of course, y'all know the green beans been sitting back there waiting for a few minutes on everything to get ready. So, we just about there. So, we're going to switch it over here and go ahead and get these bread in the oven. Okay, y'all, it's time to get this bread done. 1 cup of mayo. Y'all know I'm eyeball. Okay, we'll recap on this. I've got a cup of flour, a half a cup of Bisquick, and a half a cup of that Jiffy cornbread mix. That's just something I decided different I wanted to do. So I'm going to eyeball it. That's a fourth of a cup. Another fourth. And this makes... that was a fourth. Okay, that's your mayo. You put 1 cup of mayonnaise, and then you're gonna put 1 cup of milk or cream. This is like Pet. This is Food Line brand. Okay. Hold on, y'all. I'm coming back. And I'm gonna put me a couple of tablespoons of y'all know what it is. Smart Start. Gotta have a little butter flavor in there. So all we gotta do, this is the bread, y'all. This is how simple it is. If you want the basic recipe for this, y'all, is 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of mayo, and 1 cup of milk. And just mix it like so. So all you gotta do is just mix. Just make sure you mix it up really good. And I'm gonna put it in a 375 degree oven for about 15 minutes, and they ought to be done. This is gonna make 12 muffins or biscuits, whatever you want to call them. Muffins, biscuits, whatever. So what I'm gonna do for my pan, take and spray your pan with some the non-stick spray. And I choose olive oil flavor. Okay. I was going to put a little garlic in there, but if anybody wants to eat theirs with jelly, I don't want to try to mix their jelly with garlic. So we won't do the garlic and we won't do the cheese. I think we got enough flavors going on here today. What y'all think? Okay. I'm spraying these extra because I don't want nothing sticking on me. I'm just extra spraying. Okay? I know somebody's out there having a fit, but that's okay. You'll be all right. Take a deep breath. And usually about that consistency is what you're looking for. And this is the way I start mine. I'll do all of them at least that much. If I have some left over, I just go back over. This will be the easiest pan of bread you ever made in your life. I don't think you can even get a pan of cornbread going that fast. For the taste, you know what I'm saying? And I'm anxious to see what that little bit of Jiffy cornbread mix is going to make in there. So I'm thinking it's going to give it the outside at least a little crunch. You got some left, so that means you can fill these up a little bit higher. A little bit higher. A little bit higher. Until you use up all your batter. So it really is only enough for 12 because I don't like them real, real big over the top big. So that's why I make 12. And these are pretty good sized muffin tins. And y'all probably y'all think, well, Lord have mercy, look at this muffin tin is close to my age. Back in the day when you bought appliances like this, they last longer, seem like, and the older they get, the better they cook. So it's like my little cornucopia stuff is 40 something years old. Yeah, because 10 is 43, about 40 something. And my other waterless cookware is 43 years old, and what I didn't burn up along the way is still ready. Okay, so this is ready, going in the oven for 15 minutes, and when y'all see everything again, it will be on the table and the flavor train will be rolling in, so y'all hold on. Okay, y'all, dinner is ready. Sunday dinner is on the stove, ready to be on the table. There's those homemade, you see it, cream potatoes. They're not out of the box today, y'all. So homemade cream potatoes, that good old dark brown gravy, mushroom gravy, cube steak, and onions. Good old savory green beans, fresh frozen green beans, and there's that good old timey fried squash and onions, y'all. We ready to do this thing. And of course there's those mayonnaise biscuits. Now I put a little switch on this time. I put me a half a cup of cornmeal in there, that Jiffy cornbread mix. So we're gonna see what that tastes like. They ought to be good and buttery and creamy. I even threw a little bit of Smart Start in there to make it a little bit butterier, a little bit creamy. Y'all know me, I try to switch it up every once in a while, which is good, because basically, unless we just get adventurous, we eat the same thing all the time. So listen, guys, thank y'all for dropping by on Sunday for Sunday dinner. The flavor train will be pulling in here shortly. Thank y'all for stopping by, listening to me. Thank you for your prayers and your encouragement. And listen, remember, y'all, keep on praying, y'all. Keep those prayers going up so the blessings will continue to come down. Stand in the gap. Pray for somebody. Thank y'all for praying for me, and I'll continue to pray for you. All the things that are going on around this world today, pray for our leadership. I don't care how you feel about it. Pray about it, and the Lord will take care of what he needs to take care of, because he is still in control. Y'all do know that, right? Okay, listen, guys, it's getting late in the afternoon. We're ready to sit back, relax, and enjoy this meal. Y'all need to tune in for the next time that I decide to cook something. And until I do, I love you guys so much. Keep those prayers going up now so the blessings will continue to come down. Love you guys. Toodaloo.